understand how unsettling these types of events can be in neighborhoods. And to that end, the residents of this area can expect to see a heightened police presence.
Police are searching for 2 suspects in connection with a double murder in Riverdale. Good afternoon. The deadly incident happened on Bain Avenue near Logan around 1:15 last night.
Area residents say they've been left shaken by the violence in their neighborhood. CTV's Janice Golding's been following the investigation and joins us live now with more details. Janice.
Hi, Nathan. Yes, Toronto police are investigating the city's latest homicides involving 2 young males shot right across the street from Withrow Park here in Riverdale. Now, as you mentioned, the shootings actually took place here on Bain Avenue near Logan at around 11:15 p.m. Officers say they responded to the sound of gunfire and located 2 male victims in their late teens or early 20s. Now, both were suffering from gunshot wounds. One would die at the scene. The other was rushed to hospital but would not survive his injuries. Police quickly cordoned off the area and officers started searching for evidence. You will notice in our video from last night, one vehicle with hazards flashing. Police have identified that SUV as a vehicle of interest. And by light of day, you can actually see that it has bullet holes on one side. Police are looking for 2 male suspects who are believed to be between 5'5" and 5'8" tall and were last seen wearing dark clothing running toward Withrow Park.
I don't know if I've really heard gunshots before, but it was like very loud and multiple in a row.
And that made you think?
And it made me think that there was a gunshot. And then there was like a little bit of, I don't know if like screaming, but anyway, it was definitely some like yelling from folks here to stay inside. And
It's very shocking and sad. So yeah, I live in this neighborhood, and last night I noticed cops with lights shining both ways, and maybe they were looking for something, but they didn't have the sirens on. And then I woke up to a lot of tape, crime scene tape. Yeah, it's unexpected in this neighborhood, yeah.
This is a densely populated residential area. I think the residents of this area and the residents of the City of Toronto are right to be concerned about gun violence. But the Toronto Police Service are doing everything that we can do to address that. We do have an increased police presence here, but you're right, it is very troubling.
Now, police say they are working to identify these young men so that they can notify next of kin. At this point, however, they do not know who they are. They're also asking anyone who may have seen anything in the area to contact them if they have surveillance video or dash cam video, or if they witnessed anything at all. Reporting live, I'm Janice Golding. Now back to Michelle and Nathan.
Thank you, Janice. The search continues for a suspect after 4 people were struck by a vehicle on the campus of Toronto Metropolitan University. Police say they were struck in what they believe was a targeted incident. It happened shortly before 2 p.m. on the Nelson Mandela Walk, which runs between Gould and Gerrard. 2 people were taken to hospital. CTV public safety analyst Chris Lewis spoke about the potential next steps in the investigation.
If, in fact, somebody in that crowd knew the individual, and they get on to, whether it's his vehicle, et cetera, get on to him, look at his social media, do an investigation all around him, you see if there is some sort of political leaning or some sort of situation where the individual's been drawn into supporting some group. And I'm not suggesting in a million years that is the issue here, but they're going to want to eliminate that or prove it one way or another. Likely it was more a personal vendetta of some sort, as opposed to based on racism, religion, politics.
Police are searching for the driver of a dark green sedan with a broken windshield and the license plate DEDZ 565. They're asking anyone with information to come forward.
New data indicates more students living in the U.S. are applying to Canadian universities or expressing interest in studying north of the border. For more, we're joined live by CTV's Renee Rogers. Renee, tell us about this rise in interest from American students.
Hi, Michelle and Nathan. Well, this comes as U.S. President Donald Trump really takes aim at colleges and universities south of the border, characterizing them as woke institutions who are not doing enough to prevent anti-Semitism on campus. And it's possible that we are seeing some of the results of that here in Canada. The University of British Columbia's Vancouver campus is reporting a 27% jump in graduate applications from U.S. citizens for programs starting this this year. It also says campus tour requests from U.S. students are up by 20%. Meantime, at the University of Toronto, which is Canada's largest by number of students, it's reporting a, quote, meaningful increase in U.S. applications. And the University of Waterloo is reporting an increase in U.S. visitors to campus and a 15% increase in web traffic originating from the United States since September. These are just a few examples of universities in Canada that are seeing increase in interest from students from the U.S.
Now, at first glance, the thought is, okay, this has to do with the Trump administration and what's happening in this trade war. Is this directly related to that?
Well, I will tell you that both the Universities of Toronto and Waterloo have not cited any specific reason for this increase, but it's a little different at the University of British Columbia. They are pointing directly to some of Trump's policies, specifically the revocation of hundreds of international student visas and also increased monitoring of their social media activity. So the Trump administration, as we know, has canceled hundreds of foreign student visas, and it's also began deportation proceedings against some of the detained foreign students who took part in those pro-Palestinian protests on campus. Now, we also know the Trump administration has frozen hundreds of millions of dollars for post-secondary institutions across the U.S. And aside from politics, there are also a couple of other considerations as well. They are mainly financial. First, it would be the fact that U.S. students who are studying in Canada pay about half as much tuition as they would pay south of the border. And the other consideration is the strength of the U.S. dollar compared to Canada's right now, which is going to save some students money. But there is one thing to remember, and that is for the second year in a row, the Canadian government has capped the number of international students that are allowed to come into this country to study. So even though we may see an influx of American students, it will be limited due to that fact.
I was thinking about that. CTV's Renee Rogers in the National Newsroom. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Still to come, federal leaders will be squaring off in Montreal this evening in a French language debate. But the Green Party will not be taking the stage. We'll have more details a little later in the newscast. But first, a rally was held outside Queen's Park this morning calling for greater support for home care nurses.
The demonstration comes as nurses are set to begin negotiations with the province in the coming months. CTV's Allison Hurst has been following the story. She joins us live with more. Allison.
There has been chanting and dancing as they've been pumping in music outside here for the crowd that just dispersed in the last couple of minutes. They all wanted to be loud enough so that the legislature, now sitting again, could hear them. Hundreds of nurses descended here on Queen's Park with a message very clear, calling for funding and wage increase for the 230 nurses who provide home care. Rally attendants talked about the wage discrepancy between home care nurses and those in hospitals, pointing out home care nurses are the lowest paid in the province.
We are one province, one nursing voice, and we need to be, as a whole, one united front.
To support the nurses who provide care at home. The VON nurses are some of the lowest paid nurses in Ontario, and it is we have to have these nurses have fair, equitable working conditions and wages so that they can care for our patients, clients, and residents.
They don't know the conditions they're walking into. Their homes can be unsafe. There can be health and safety issues. They work by themselves in precarious positions, so they need support in those aspects as well.
Contract negotiations are set to start in the coming months. Reporting live, I'm Allison Hurst. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Allison. The next phase of work on the Gardiner Expressway has begun. The westbound Gardiner has been reduced from 4 lanes to 3 from Park Lawn Road to Grand Avenue. This lane reduction will be in place until May of next year. The eastbound lanes will be narrowed but not closed until November of 2026. The city says these reductions will allow for critical repair work on 5 bridges. The city also says the eastbound Gardiner ramp to Lakeshore Boulevard will be closed from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. tomorrow.
A community of tiny homes in Kitchener celebrating 5 years since it was created.
It has moved several times over the years, but its mission remains the same, providing housing for those living on the street. CTV's Heather Centerin reports.
Laura Waboose is proud of where she lives. I love it. This is home.
She's been at A Better Tent City since it started 5 years ago, a community of tiny homes for the region's most vulnerable, starting in 2020 at a site at Lot 42 before moving temporarily to Battler Road and now on Ardelt Avenue in Kitchener.
So we do counseling service. We have service for addiction issues, and we have an arts program going on. And we have other stuff.
Laura says she owes a lot to A Better Tent City's co-founder, Nadine Green, whom she met before its inception when Nadine owned a business downtown.
I was homeless, and I was staying with Nadine. She would let me sleep at nights in her store.
She's not the only one Nadine has helped.
Nadine's seen me in the bus terminal, and she said, "Come with me." And she brought us to Lot 42.
There are 50 residents living at A Better Tent City in 42 tiny homes. And over the years, we're told 12 residents have secured independent housing. Nadine says the people living here have been through a lot.
Lots of stuff, lots of trauma, lots of, being out there when you're homeless. People don't want to look at you. People judge you. Here, we don't judge you. Come and your family.
The Social Development Center, Waterloo Region, has been a charitable partner since it started. Staff there call it a groundbreaking program.
Because it is peer-to-peer, it's person-to-person, it's community coming together around marginalized and underserved.
Residents say it's a welcoming community that has everything you'd need.
The food is my favorite part, shelter and Nadine.
Nadine says it's not only her that made it a success. She thanks their first landlord, the late Ron Doyle, the volunteers, partners, and supporters, and notes they won't be slowing down anytime soon.
I did make a pledge that I will live at A Better Tent City however long it takes for all the people to get housing. So however long it takes.
A Better Tent City providing a better chance for a fresh start. Heather Centerin, CTV News, Kitchener.
We want to draw your attention now. Olivia Chow is outlining the expansion of the city's automated speed enforcement camera network.
And one of
Let's
the
listen in
ways
live.
we can make roads safer is by enforcing the rule, especially the speed limit. Today, we are announcing that we have installed 75 automated speed cameras to make our roads safer. Enforcing speed limits will encourage drivers to slow down, respect the rules of the road. And if an accident happens, it would have less deadly force because the car is traveling slower. Across the city, automatic speed enforcement cameras will be installed in community safety zones like this one to help make these areas safer for everyone. The data provides and proves that the automatic speed cameras keep people safe. In 2023, Sick Kids and the TMU studies show that the speed cameras improve safety. At locations with automatic speed cameras, the percentage of drivers going over the speed limit decreased by 80%. That means the fellow drivers, pedestrians, cyclists are all a bit safer. My message to all drivers is to please obey the rules, slow down, respect the speed limits and cameras, and do your part to protect other people, especially kids and seniors, so everyone to get to their destination safely. Hopefully, this means no new tickets will be issued because everybody's obeying the law, and we will keep the most vulnerable in our community safe. In the coming days, many Torontonians will be driving to see their loved ones at Passover or Easter, and I'm asking you to do your part by respecting the speed limits across the city. Thank you, and I will now hand over to Barbara Gray of Transportation Services to discuss the importance of these speed cameras.
Live news conference with Mayor Olivia Chow. Whether you love those automated speed enforcement cameras or hate them, the city is doubling the number from 75 to 150. Some will be in permanent locations. Others will be roving. They'll be positioned in community safety zones and places where there are a high number of speeders or even accidents. Barbara Gray there is talking a little bit more about this. We're going to leave this news conference there, but we'll certainly have more on the new addition of cameras later on at 6. Now let's get to your weather forecast. Gray skies, and if you've been outside, you know what we're about to say. It is cool out there. Certainly feels like winter is hanging on. Let's get to Jessica Smith for more on what we're working with on this Wednesday. It's frigid.
It is, and it's windy out there as well. No wind warnings just yet, but you'll notice that breeze. We have winds out of the northwest right now, pretty gusty. Holding on to just a lot of cloud cover to get our day going, but we are looking at some late day sunshine, but the return to seasonal doesn't happen until tomorrow. Winds are sustained out of the northwest, right around 37 kilometers an hour, gusts a little closer to 46, and it's going to stay windy through a good portion of the day, so keep that in mind. Right now here in the city, we're sitting at 4, although it feels a little closer to the freezing mark, and everybody's got that chill in the air. But we are going to see a turnaround with our conditions as we head into the day tomorrow, and we're looking at a nice rebound, although it is also short-lived because there's more rain on the way. Coming up, I'll have a full look at your long-range forecast, and we'll look ahead to the long weekend. But right now, I'll send things back over to Nathan and Michelle.
Thank you, Jess.
Thanks.
The Green Party has been dropped from tonight's French language debate in Montreal.
The organizers say it's because the party is not running enough candidates. The Debates Commission released a statement which reads in part, deliberately reducing the number of candidates running for strategic reasons is inconsistent with the Commission's interpretation of party viability, which Criterion 3 was designed to measure. The Commission concludes that the inclusion of the leader of the Green Party of Canada in these circumstances would undermine the integrity of the debates and the interests of the voting public.
The commission invited the Greens to take part earlier this month, saying the party met both the benchmark for the number of candidates it was running at that time and the number of MPs it has in the House. But the party only has candidates in 232 ridings currently. Green Party leader Jonathan Pedneau says the last-minute decision to remove his party from the debate is unfounded and undemocratic.
This decision from the Debates Commission today does not protect democracy. It protects those who've already had their turn. It protects the ones who pave over the truth, who bulldoze through public interest and leave the rest of us to pick up the pieces. But here's what they forget. When they bulldoze, when they pave, green always grows, and it will keep on growing.
Meanwhile, the time for the French language debate's been moved ahead by 2 hours in order to avoid overlapping with the Montreal Canadiens' final game of the season.
Hockey is our national sport. So it was pretty easy as a solution to just change the hour of the debate.
The start time of the debate has been moved to 6 p.m. Eastern from 8 p.m. Bloc Québécois leader Yves-François Blanchet and NDP leader Jagmeet Singh asked for the change to allow people to watch the Montreal Canadiens try to clinch a playoff spot. In terms of the debate itself, it's going to focus on 5 themes, including ongoing trade war with the U.S. and the rising cost of living.
What we're looking at as a situation for Mark Carney is he has to make sure that he doesn't make a big blunder on this. And it's going to be a real pressure cooker for him, because if the Liberal numbers in Quebec unravel, it's hard for the Liberals to win an election if they don't do well in the province of Quebec. And, you know, for Pierre Poilievre, whether he picks up support from the Liberals or whether those votes go to the Bloc, anything that moves away from the Liberals is good news for Pierre Poilievre, because it either splits the vote with another party or the Conservatives are able to pick up some support in the province of Quebec.
As we head into the leaders' debate, the latest Nanos poll for CTV News and the Globe and Mail shows the Liberals extending their lead. They're up 0.4 percentage points to 44.7% support in this poll. The Conservatives dropping to 37.3%. The NDP also down slightly to 8.3%. The Bloc moved above the 6% mark. The Greens were just above 2%, and the People's Party just over 1%. And looking at who Canadians prefer as Prime Minister, Mark Carney getting a 49.4% support, while Pierre Poilievre sitting at 32.6%. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh is at around 4% support. These Nanos polls were of more than 1,300 Canadians. They are considered accurate within 2.7 percentage points, 19 times out of 20. Well, there are new details about the surging number of people seeking asylum in Canada.
Many claimants are from Haiti and had previously been living under special programs in the U.S. CTV's Quebec Bureau Chief Geneviève Beauchemin reports.
A few signs of the surge in asylum seekers have been spotted at the Lacal border crossing. Added personnel, more vans carrying those seeking refuge on Canadian soil. This rise is recent. New figures show that so far this year across the country, the number of applications for asylum has been down significantly, 53% less compared to 2024. But since April 1st, 1,411 people have made asylum claims at this land crossing. Compare that to the same period last year, the number was 319. Community groups are scrambling to provide help, including for the basics like food, housing, to those who arrive in Montreal. Colette Casavant of Family Centre Entre Maman et Papa says resources are already stretched thin and the needs are growing. Most refugee claimants arriving at the border now are from Haiti and had been living in the U.S. under special programs that suspended deportations. Their home country is in turmoil as gangs control the capital, Port-au-Prince. But Trump ended the programs and a letter went out to Haitians without status asking them to leave the U.S. by April 24. Until 2023, Lacal and the nearby irregular border crossing at Roxham Road had repeatedly made headlines as a gateway to Canada. Sophie Mulanga now volunteers at the Family Centre but is from Congo.
Trump, c'était son premier mandat.
She arrived through that crossing during Trump's first term, believing the U.S. no longer felt safe. But over the past 2 years, the number of migrants had gone down significantly. This after the third Safe Country Agreement was extended to the entire border. That agreement forces asylum seekers to make their claim in the U.S. if they enter that country first. And so many who arrive here are turned around and sent back to the U.S., but there are exceptions, including for some who have close family ties in Canada. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Saint-Bernard-de-la-Colle, Quebec.
U.S. President Donald Trump's in a standoff with the courts after a man living in Maryland was deported to El Salvador.
He has never been convicted of a crime, and the courts are demanding the Trump administration bring him home. CTV's Washington Bureau Chief Joy Malvin reports.
The pressure's mounting to bring Kilmar Abrego Garcia home. The Maryland father of three just spent his second month in El Salvador's notorious prison. This image of him, head shaved, dressed in white, his wife pleading for his return.
Enough is enough. My family can't be robbed from another day without seeing Kilmar. This administration has already taken so much from my children's.
The White House admitted it made a mistake deporting Garcia. The Supreme Court ordered the Trump administration to facilitate his return, and federal judge scolded the government for doing, quote, nothing to bring him back.
We're not asking anybody to do anything illegal. We're asking them to follow the law.
But the White House now says it wasn't a mistake, and Garcia is exactly where he belongs.
There is never going to be a world in which this is an individual who's going to live a peaceful life in Maryland because he is a foreign terrorist and a MS-13 gang member.
Garcia denies the allegations. He's never been convicted of a crime here or in El Salvador, but did enter the U.S. illegally and was given protected status.
He's from El Salvador, so that's a decision up to El Salvador.
El Salvador's president said he won't do it in what has become a test of Donald Trump's presidential power versus the courts. I'm pissed. Even Republicans at this town hall are feeling the heat.
These people have been sentenced to life imprisonment in a foreign country with no due process.
A federal judge ordered the Trump administration to show evidence of what action it's taken to secure Garcia's release within 2 weeks, or she'll consider contempt charges. Joy Malvin, CTV News.
Meanwhile, the Associated Press has asked a U.S. federal judge to enforce a court order that would give it access to White House events once again. The Trump administration banned the wire service after it chose not to follow an executive order declaring the Gulf of Mexico should now be called the Gulf of America. The Trump administration last night said it will no longer guarantee a spot for any wire service. The makeup of the White House press pool was previously decided by the independent White House Correspondents Association, but the Trump administration now says it will choose who is given access.
Although he's mostly kept away from the public eye since leaving office, former U.S. President Joe Biden called out Donald Trump last night, saying he's taken a hatchet to services Americans need.
Fewer than 100 days, this new administration has made done so much damage and so much destruction. It's kind of breathtaking it could happen that soon.
Biden specifically addressed cuts to the Social Security Administration carried out by the Elon Musk-run Department of Government Efficiency. Democrats have signaled they plan to make the matter an issue on the campaign trail in next year's midterms.
Today, Time magazine announced its list of the year's 100 most influential people. The magazine revealed who made the list, along with covers highlighting several of the familiar faces honored. They include Golden Globe winner Demi Moore, music icon Snoop Dogg, tennis star Serena Williams, pop star Ed Sheeran, and Google DeepMind co-founder Demis Hassabis. The compilation features personalities from across the worlds of entertainment, politics, sports, business, and other sectors who Time deems as key to events shaping the world in 2025.
Cool, cloudy, and windy is how we get through our Wednesday here in the city, but there is some late day sunshine expected, so something to look forward to. But you want to hold on to your hat until then. We're looking at a northwesterly wind with gusts upwards of 60 kilometers an hour throughout the day. As we head into your Thursday, the sunshine returns, winds get a little lighter, and it's a much easier day. Coming up, I'll have a full look at your long-range forecast, including a look ahead to your weekend if you're heading out for Easter or you're just getting ready to enjoy your Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'll have a full preview coming up right after the break.
Why later today.
All right, that is Premier Doug Ford speaking. He's outlining his government steps to break down trade barriers in this country. Let's listen in live.
Ontario through Free Trade Within Canada Act. This legislation will remove all of Ontario's remaining exceptions under the Canadian Free Trade Agreement. And we're going to continue working with our two provinces to sign an MOU. And this will allow more certified workers from across Canada, including skilled tradespeople, more healthcare workers, to come and work in Ontario right away. We're also launching consultations to break down barriers for American healthcare workers, well-trained doctors and nurses, people who are fed up with how President Trump is governing, to come and work here in Ontario, work at both our great provinces, everywhere else in the country as well, as we continue hiring more doctors and nurses into our healthcare system. This legislation would and mean that Ontario automatically allows goods and services from another province to be sold right here in Ontario, provided that provinces treats Ontario goods and services the same way. So, to borrow an example from my friend Premier Houston, a frozen pizza made in Nova Scotia. You can tell this guy's in shape like Ray. He hasn't eaten too many pizzas like me. But anyways, I'll go with the frozen pizza. The frozen pizza made in Nova Scotia will be automatically recognized as a very safe to buy and eat here in Ontario. And to take that example one step further, if the truck driver who is moving those frozen pizzas is trained and certified in Nova Scotia, their credentials will be automatically recognized here in Canada as well, Ontario and Canada across the board there. These changes would also allow direct-to-consumer sales of alcohol from anywhere in Canada, provided that other provinces or territory treats Ontario producers the exact same way. This will provide new products for Ontario consumers to enjoy and millions of new customers for Ontario products across Canada. And I'm just so pleased that my fellow premiers are here to join me today because no single province can tear down these trade barriers alone. Instead, we need all 13 provinces and territories working together, along with the federal government, to build a stronger, more united Canada. That's why today, I'll be signing an agreement with Nova Scotia and an agreement with New Brunswick that support true free trade within Canada. These agreements are a blueprint, and they're a challenge to other provinces and territories to join us. It's a win for every business owner, a win for every worker, and every community held back by red tape and duplication. It's the right thing to do to protect Canada, to grow our economy, and create new jobs and opportunities across the country. Together, as a united Team Canada, we're going to get through this stronger and more united than ever before. I want to thank you, and may God bless the people of Canada. And now I'd like to hand things over to my friend Premier Houston. Thanks, buddy.
All right, listening to Premier Doug Ford, he just unveiled legislation to boost trade within this country, and this will allow more skilled workers and healthcare workers to work in Ontario and other provinces. This will boost trade within this country. Now, the premiers of Nova Scotia and New Brunswick are signing a trade deal, and the premier is saying that this is a blueprint for other provinces to join them. Of course, we're going to continue to follow the story, and we'll have more details at CTV News at 5 and 6 and on our newscast, as well as online at ctvnewstoronto.ca. Well, to other news now, students in Etobicoke are closely monitoring a mother goose which is settled on their school's property.
The goose is expected to give birth soon, and students and staff are hoping to support the newborn goslings. CTV's Beth McDonnell has been speaking with the folks at the school today and joins us now with more. Wow, this is a lesson in nature right on their doorstep, Beth.
Ever since she's been sitting on her eggs. Since Mother Goose was spotted on the roof at this kindergarten to grade 8 school in Toronto, curiosity and happiness has been increasing.
It makes me feel warm and happy that there's some happy time and warmness inside of the mother and keeping their children safe and making the world grow. Happy and excited.
Scenes like this started about 2 weeks ago. Students have been coming to this second floor window to see a mother goose sitting on her 4 eggs.
So it's been a really exciting time. We've been going up and we've been visiting looking out the window, visiting the mama goose, making observations, seeing what she's doing, and looking and just talking about goose and why they're laying eggs right now.
All the questions leading to knowledge about nature and wildlife.
They roll their eggs 4 to 5 times a day, but I think it's to keep the eggs warm. I learned about the mother goose protect their baby for 25 to 32 days.
Excitement is growing for Mother Goose's goslings to hatch. According to the school's calculations, it could be in about 2 weeks. What's going to happen to this nest, to these kids?
They crack the egg, and they turn into a little baby.
With time ticking for the goslings' arrival, anticipation is building.
It's amazing. I'm new to this community, and I think it's just a really clever way of bringing nature into the classroom.
A rare chance to see the beginnings of life up close. Okay, so Mother Goose is on her eggs. She's sticking pretty tight to the nest. She does kind of get up a little bit and move around from time to time, but keeping those eggs is the focus. As for when the goslings are going to hatch, we don't know. The principal is planning to engage the students with a survey. Reporting live, I'm Beth McDonnell.
That looks like so much fun, and I'm thinking if you're in school today, myself included, maybe not the parka, but a warm winter coat. I had to wear mine with hats and gloves. It was chilly this morning.
You could just, at the school drop-off today, you could just see it on people's faces when that wind kicked in. It was like, aren't we done with this?
No,
we're not.
The wind will humble you so quickly. And you can see the goose there sitting down really tightly because, you know, it is breezy out there. We're looking at a really strong northwesterly wind throughout the day. So hold on to your hat and I guess your eggs as well. We are looking at the wind dissipating later today, and that's when the sunshine finally returns, but we have to get there first. Weather is brought to you by the Presler Law Firm. Injury lawyers, you don't pay unless they win. And not at all, you know, sad story. There are little peaks of sunshine here and there. This is from the chopper earlier today. You can see the cloud cover still kind of settled over the city, but the sun is working really hard. It's trying its best. It's doing its best to make an appearance throughout the day today. It will later on, and thankfully we have a bit of a later sunset time now, just after 8 p.m. So the late day sunshine will get some time to have the spotlight. We're sitting at 4 degrees right now, but it feels like -2. We're at 6 through Windsor, but it feels a little cooler there. The same through Ottawa, anywhere north of North Bay, feeling the chill, and that's going to continue into this afternoon and evening before a rebound tomorrow. A pretty strong northwesterly wind sustained at 33 kilometers an hour. Those gusts closer to 50 though, and we're holding on to these really breezy conditions through to almost the end of the day, right before that kind of standard commute time, about 5-6 p.m. As we head in towards our daytime high, though, sitting at about 7 degrees, so still positive, but significantly cooler than we've been over the past few days. That continues this evening for everybody, dipping into the kind of negative side of things, -6 through Kitchener and Waterloo, -3 through Hamilton, 0 for us here in the city when we should be at 4. The bulk of that system we had yesterday is gone. The troughs are gone, high pressure moving in quite nicely, making for a really sunny, again, late afternoon and throughout the day tomorrow before another system with some rain makes its way in. But your afternoon today, right through to about 6 p.m., it gets a little clearer, it gets a little bit nicer out there. And then as we head into your Thursday, high pressure really is the star of the show, making for a beautiful and very sunny day with a significantly lighter wind. It's as we head into Friday morning that we see another system making its way in. It will make its way through to the GTA, kind of late morning, early afternoon, but not an all-day rain affair. So if you're traveling for the Easter long weekend, you have some pockets in there where it's going to be dry. Temperature-wise, again, it is cool today. Maybe not the parka, but a couple of layers are a good idea. Lots of sunshine as we head into the day tomorrow, and then we're hovering at or above seasonal, even with the messy weather making its way in as we head through our Friday. Again, not an all-day rain situation for Good Friday. A few leftover showers for your Saturday, and then by Sunday, the sun comes out just in time. A little more rain expected to begin next week, but honestly, we are looking at these showers being a good thing as we head in towards the month of May. Nathan, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Jess. Maple Leafs are looking to clinch the Atlantic Division when they faced off against the Buffalo Sabres last night.
On the rebound, Matthews flipped it back in front. Logan had lost track of it for a moment. Here's Matthews back with it. Back in front, they score! Mitch Marner's got his 100th point, and the Leafs have a 2-0 lead.
Mitch Marner scored his 100th point of the season with a goal in the third period. It's the first time he's reached the 100-point mark, and the 7th time a player has hit the milestone, make that in Leafs history.
Now Matthews back with it. Winds in. Matthews shoots. Scores! Austin Matthews, 400 career goals. A milestone night for the Leafs.
And Austin Matthews scored on an empty netter for his 400th career goal. The team went on to win the game 4-0, clinching the Atlantic Division title. The victory means the team will play the Ottawa Senators in the first round of the playoffs, with the series beginning on Sunday. The team will play their final regular season game against the Detroit Red Wings on Thursday.
The Blue Jays will be looking for a series win when they conclude their 3-game set with the Atlanta Braves this afternoon.
He's swinging away here, and he has hit it out.
The Jays hit 2 home runs in the 5th inning last night, jumping out to a 5-run lead. They ended up winning the game 6-3. First pitch for the final game of the series is set for just after 1 p.m. at Rogers Center.
Still to come, the World Health Organization has reached a deal on how the global community will tackle future pandemics. We'll have the details when we come back. A major ruling today from the Supreme Court of the United Kingdom. Judges were asked to rule on the legal definition of a woman.
The unanimous decision of this court is that the terms woman and sex in the Equality Act 2010 refer to a biological woman and biological sex.
The ruling means that a transgender person who has a certificate that recognizes them as female should not be considered a woman for equality purposes. The case stemmed from a Scottish law that required 50% female representation on school boards. The group that launched the legal fight says this is a victory for women's rights.
This case was always about women, never about trans rights, who, as Judge Hodge said, that they are fully protected in law still. But now we have clarity over what a woman means in law.
The court added its ruling did not remove protections for trans people who are still protected from discrimination on the grounds of gender reassignment. Meanwhile, the Trump administration sued Maine today over its policies on transgender inclusion in sports.
The Department of Justice will not sit by when women are discriminated against in sports. This is about sports. This is also about these young women's personal safety.
The lawsuit alleges Maine is violating the federal law prohibiting sex-based discrimination at schools that receive federal aid. It's the latest action in the feud between the Trump administration and Maine's Democrat governor for allowing transgender girls to participate on girls' teams.
Members of the World Health Organization have reached a deal on how the global community will tackle pandemics in the future. Under the agreement, governments are required to make sure pandemic-related drugs, therapeutics, and vaccines are globally accessible. That's a first for an international health agreement. The pact draws on lessons learned from the COVID-19 pandemic. The U.S. is not bound by the agreement, as President Donald Trump has begun the process of withdrawing the country from the WHO.
Still to come, Toronto District School Board trustees are set to vote on a controversial fundraising policy change tonight. We'll have more on the change when we come back.
Toronto's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Toronto District School Board trustees are set to vote on a controversial fundraising policy change tonight. TDSB staff have proposed a new model where 1% of school fundraising money would go into a common pool to support other schools within the board. In the 2022-2023 school year, the TDSB generated $35 million from fundraising, with some schools making significantly more than others.
Some schools are raising hundreds of thousands of dollars, and some schools are not reaching 1,000. The general consensus is that there is a good. It's a good move to have a priorities fund, that school councils are seeing that as a necessary thing to support other schools and build a system that's more fair. But I think there's generally concern from parents and caregivers and guardians that they want their funds that are raised to be prioritized to their own communities, which is understandable.
The board meeting is set to get underway at 7 p.m. Amid the ongoing trade war with the U.S., Quebec is the province that is most confident in the Canadian economy.
It comes as the province's real estate market is doing well. CTV's Matt Grillo has the details.
If you thought the days of bidding wars and multiple offers were gone, think again. Real estate broker Sean Brody says several of his listings sold for well over the asking price.
A single-family home here in Beaconsfield, we priced it at $999. We had 7 offers and sold it for $60,000 over the asking price. So that was a surprise to us, to the sellers.
Despite economic uncertainty, Quebec's real estate market is off to a strong start in 2025, according to Royal LePage. The median price for a home rose 7.6% compared to the same period in 2024. Across Canada, the average increase was just 2.1%. And Toronto and Vancouver saw decreases in home prices.
Montreal, we're still in an undersupply situation, really. So that's kind of driving the price dynamic here in Montreal. It's a supply and demand issue.
And it appears Quebecers are a lot more confident than others when it comes to the economy. 65% of Quebecers say they are somewhat or very confident in the Canadian economy, compared to just 44% in Ontario and 42% in Alberta. Moshe Lander from Concordia's economics department says optimism can go a long way in the economy.
When everything that's going crazy around us, you can find a source for optimism. That's the type of thing that can keep a bad recession as a mild recession, or a mild recession as mild growth, or mild growth as stronger growth.
Matt Grillo, CTV News.
Spotify says a widespread service outage that impacted users in several countries this morning is now resolved. It's not clear exactly how widespread the issues were, but they appear to affect both the Spotify app and web player. Outage tracking website Down Detector registered tens of thousands of reports worldwide. Just afternoon, Spotify wrote on social media that the tech issues were cleared. So far, there's been no word on what caused the hours-long partial outage, but the company says it was not a security hack.
It's cool, but a beautiful day is on the way. You're watching CTV News at noon. Stay with us. Weather when we return. Well, hopefully it gets a little bit warmer today, but I have a feeling it's not going to make much of a difference. Tomorrow is what we're waiting for.
We're thinking warm thoughts. We're going to manifest the warmth that will return in actuality as we head into the day tomorrow. A change in wind direction, a bit of high pressure moving in. It's going to make a huge difference when it comes to our Thursday and moving forward. We don't have brilliant sunshine for a stretch of days, but we do get the sun returning at least late today and into the day tomorrow. The bulk of that system we had, it is gone. We're watching for another one making its way from the U.S. that could bring a little rain as we head into our Friday, but for now we're focused on the positive, and those are at least the positive temperatures, although they don't feel that way. It feels like -2 here in the city of Toronto. Looking ahead to your Thursday, the sunshine returns, and then we stay in the double digits. Yeah, we get a little rain, but you know what? It'll be warmer. You can put away the heavier layers.
All right, looking forward to it. Thank you, Jess. And that's CTV News at noon. Remember, you can get Toronto's breaking news all day long on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Jess Smith and the whole team here, have a pleasant afternoon. I'm Michelle Dubé.
And I'm Nathan Downer. Be sure to join us later for CTV News at 5 and 6. Have a great afternoon.